welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get into the mid-January love check-in for the sign of Gemini. Geminis, you're up. We're going to go ahead and pull out your romance angel messages just to see what you may or may not be going through this January period. Please do check out the placements of your other planets in your chart, okay? I've been getting a lot of questions about that recently in the comments. And do remember that we are not only our sun sign, we all have an entire natal chart with multiple placements of planets and various signs and houses. So we're just tapping into Gemini energy right now, right? So wherever that Gemini energy resides in your chart depends on how much you may resonate with this reading, okay? So check out Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars placement. All right, guys, so let's get right into pulling out your romance angel messages. Straight out, we have very soon. And we have calling in your soulmate. Wow. All right, Gemini, very soon calling in your soulmate. Feels nice, doesn't it? That's a good energy, certainly when we're talking about a love reading. Let's go ahead and get right into your spread. Now, we're going to pull out a simplified Celtic cross spread. For the full Celtic cross love reading, like I say, you can go ahead into your January love reading, which is linked in the description. You can go to your 2020 love outlook and your 2020 general outlook. They're all linked in the description, Gemini. Private readings, follow the links in the description or earlier at the top of your screen. All right, let's get right into pulling out your spread. All right, Gemini, we have at the center, Four of Wands, covered with the High Priestess. Nice. We have Page of Wands and the Eight of Swords. All right, coming in with Five of Pentacles and rounding out your period with the Queen of Pentacles. At the bottom of the deck, we have Seven of Pentacles. Well, I'm going to get back to that Seven of Pentacles. Let's get right into your spread, Gemini. Oops, excuse me. Sorry about that. Gemini, Four of Wands and the High Priestess. Well, Four of Wands, right, is all about new love. It's Venus and Aries energy. It is one of the soulmate cards in the deck. It talks about a love connection, a union that is equally passionate for both sides. Mutual respect and love is there and at a very high level. Four is the number for stability and power. So this being Venus and Aries, it's a new connection that starts right away with strong stability, right? Because both people are seeking the same thing. They both have the same intention. They both have the same level of respect and love for each other and focus. This is what makes this card the 1111. This is the 1111 card. This is what makes this so much of a strong twin flame journey card, right? Because the union is so stable and so sort of mutual. You're covered with a High Priestess, which is a real feeling of sort of intuitive ability and self-confidence. But she's also talks about walking the path, right? Living life, right? When you live your life and you walk the path, meaning you open up to your intuitive abilities and you open up to the connections that are around us that are not always so much on the surface but deeper. You begin to understand the secrets of life. You begin to learn the secrets of life, the secrets of connecting to spirit. This is the High Priestess oftentimes is talked about as being someone who is the keeper of secrets, who doesn't really give you much information, right? She's very sort of stoic and like, you know, she hints at what is necessary to sort of find out or get closer to the meaning of life, as it were, right? I mean, that is the ultimate secret. What is the meaning of life, right? But she doesn't tell you what it is, and she only shows you kind of the way to find it for yourself. And the way is through opening up that third eye, paying attention to the deeper feelings inside of you, to that inner voice, that spiritual connection. So in a lot of ways right now, your inner voice is telling you something about the kind of connection you're wanting to call in. So you're calling in your soulmate very soon. So I think for a lot of you, this Four of Wands is what you are absolutely desiring, right? And you feel like it's just about there. You feel like it's, right around the next corner. You are actively calling in this love connection, certainly with High Priestess energy at play, right? However, let's get into this. Focus and unconscious. You're focusing in the back of your mind, your conscious, unconscious. Consciously, you're very sort of thinking about your future. You begin to have a real vision about the love that you want, the kind of love you want. Again, this High Priestess energy is really sending this vision out into the world consciously with a focus. You're overcoming some fears, right? There may have been some fears in the past about love relationships because maybe at the time you weren't sure what kind of love relationship it was that you really desired, or you really didn't know yourself well enough to call in the right connection for you. Well, you've overcome that and you know exactly what you want, and you're being very idealistic about it and very courageous. But in the back of your mind, there is a feeling of Eight of Swords. And this is quite interesting because I think, the Eight of Swords is a very toxic energy in a lot of ways. It is someone who is very restricted in their thinking. Someone who oftentimes, as a result of this restricted way of thinking, finds themselves very alienated from others. They also can be sort of, the victim. They can play the victim card a lot, or they can gaslight people a lot because of this feeling of not having control of their own lives, blaming others. But for you, I think, Gemini, it is resonating with the sense of, I think that you may have been here for a little while. You may have been feeling a little bit sort of, I'm not going to say feeling sorry for yourself, but I think for a little while you maybe were thinking like, it was other people's fault that you weren't in a love connection, or that you were feeling the way you were feeling. You may have been feeling a little bit like a victim also. This is, when this energy is sort of intensified, it can become very toxic. But in a simple sort of, I want to say, with just a hint of this energy, there is a feeling of having been victimized. You may have gone through a period where you felt a little bit sort of like, because of the people around you or because of the environment around you, your choices were limited, right? But you've overcome that. And I think it's in the back of your mind because you have been very consciously overcoming that with this High Priestess. For you to have such courage with that Page of Wands and fearlessness to follow your heart, yet you have an eight of Swords in the back of your mind. I think that this is definitely for a Gemini who's done a lot of healing, who's really sort of faced up to your own sort of toxicity, right? Faced up to your own sort of, I think it's like you may have gone through a situation where you're feeling a little bit like this, but you saw yourself quickly becoming, example, you may have been in a relationship with a gaslighter, right? You may have been in a relationship with somebody who's very, very toxic. And for a short period of time, you may have indeed felt very much like a lot of your choices were out of your hands, right? A lot of what you were going through was really because you were at their mercy. But you got yourself out of it, right? You get yourself out of that connection. And you also realize that if you carry on down that road, you're only going to become more and more like this toxic individual that you were with. And so you take responsibility. So this is the feeling I have with you and this connection to Eight of Swords. Not that you are this toxic individual, but that you could see the signs of it coming. And that you really very much sort of like pulled yourself back and said, I'm not going to fall into this sort of mode of behavior. I'm not going to fall into this mindset. I'm not going to become like this toxic person I've just gotten away from. And you know what? You should be very proud of yourself if you're resonating with this, because a lot of people, everyone sort of has a feeling of Eight of Swords at some point in their life. Not everyone is able to recognize it and overcome it and pull yourself back. You've come out of a Five of Pentacles now, and you're coming into a Queen of Pentacles. Again, this indicates that there was in fact a relationship or a connection in the past, recent past, I believe, where you have perhaps split from someone, a power dynamic, right? And that's power dynamic, power struggle fell apart. It became to a split, a divide, and ultimately you were the one turned out into the cold. You were the one who paid a financial price. And it could very well be that it's this sort of disconnection in the past that you had that led to you feeling a little bit like Eight of Swords energy, feeling a little bit sort of helpless, right? And at the mercy. But then again, Five of Pentacles is also a necessary sort of event. Oftentimes this is a little setback, or even it can be a big setback. But ultimately when you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, you move on, you build up again, you realize that it was for your better good, because now all the opportunities are open to you. And very much so, you can see that because you're coming into now a Queen of Pentacles energy, in a sense that you have worked very hard for your garden. You've worked very hard. This is in the past, right? Could be recent past, could be distant past, but this is the energy that was behind you coming into this period. But you round this period off with a Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles is, like I said, understanding the nature of putting your blood, sweat, and tears into anything that you want to do or accomplish or manifest, right? Having reached a certain level of abundance, right? But you've done it all on your own. You've done it without the help of anyone. And again, so many opportunities and doors have opened up to you. I think, again, this sort of, this transformation that you're right now, middle of January, kind of going through has led to a lot of this understanding, right? The strength that you've shown to overcome this toxic energy that you were resonating with just a little bit. Again, that was quite natural. It's like, right at the same time when this happened, it feels like right at the same time when this event happened, right, as a result of probably being with a very toxic person, it was like you did a 180 in every area of your life. You picked yourself up financially and physically to get better. And mentally, you did the hard work of getting yourself out of this sort of victim role of a victim. And you transcended that. Yeah, it stays in the back of your mind, I think, in a way to remind you. I think you're not completely, out of the healing phase of it. And so it still stays in the back of your mind that how quickly or how easily, you can get into this mode of behavior. And I think that you very strongly don't want to go back there. You also very strongly don't want that type of love connection, which brings me right back to your center card and your High Priestess. You know absolutely now what kind of connection you want. You know what kind of lover you want that will make you happy, that you can have an equal exchange with. All of that is because you've done very strong shadow work here, very strong healing work, and now you're calling in your soulmate. Seven of Pentacles is a feeling of failure sometimes with regard to your career, your business, to the rewards that you have begun to bring in. And I just think that also it doesn't always mean failure, but it can also mean a reevaluation. I think through all of this, certainly through this Five of Wands, you kind of also reevaluated what it is you truly desire for your hopes and dreams, because you didn't want to put all this work in again, right? Building yourself back up, only to be disappointed with the fruits of your labor, because you find out later they aren't really what you want. Again, this has been a real transformative period. You have transformed in a lot of ways. If you're resonating with this, you've definitely transformed in a lot of ways your vision for what you want your career to be like, what you want, what type of abundance you want to come in, what level of abundance. You've really transformed that. You've really worked hard on picking yourself out of this and and getting yourself out of mental sort of dysfunction as a result of this split. And now you're very healthy, courageous, calling in your soulmate with strong intention, and certainly having established a strong connection with regard to your career and establishing yourself in that area. You've leveled up. You know, I always say in my readings, my regulars know, I talk about leveling up. When you level up, it's like you change your baseline. You've leveled up and you've learned some lessons so that here with this Queen of Pentacles, you're in a position where no one can ever put you in this position again. You won't allow yourself to be in this type of power dynamic where a split could affect you so strongly. You've done so much of the hard work yourself that you've also sort of regained authority and power over your own financial sort of abundance, your financial stability, right? And strength and your power base. Very strong reading for Gemini. I'm going to call it. This is January, mid-January, love check-in. Very strong reading for a Gemini who should be extremely proud of themselves for all of the good work that you've done. You are absolutely calling in your soulmate, and I think your soulmate is right around the corner because you have everything. You have really done everything that you needed to do. It was not without difficulty. I know it was hard. I know there were probably very emotional times, very difficult times, certainly times where you felt like your ego was getting bruised. But trust me when I tell you, you did some incredible work here on yourself, and you should be extremely proud of yourself. All right, Gemini, if you enjoyed this, please, please, please like, subscribe, and share. Hit the bell. Check out your other readings. International watchers, if you want to get a reading, please go ahead and email me. You can follow that link at the top of your screen. But like I say, if you have any trouble booking with that link because you are in a particular country, just email me and we can go ahead and schedule it manually. But for right now, Gemini, I just love it when I get a reading like this for one of my collective. And please do enjoy this mid-January, and I'll see you February for your February love outlook. Bye-bye now.